Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nirkrishna Raina, a student in Masters of Education, Stream of Education in Kathmandu University School of Education. Today, I'm going to present on interactions among organisms. There are several types of interactions between two or more organisms. Here, you can see in some organisms, in some relationships, both of the organisms are benefited. Here in this slide, green color means benefited, yellow color means neutral, and red color means harmed. So in the first type of relationship, you can see both organisms are benefited from their uh, relationship. This kind of relationship or interaction is known as mutualism. Mutualism comes from the word mutual, where organism 1 is being benefited from organism 2 and organism 2 is being benefited from organism 1. The second type of interaction is commensalism, in which you can say organism 1 is benefited from organism 2, second organism, but the second organism gets none of the benefits from organism 1. That means second organism is neither benefited nor harmed. And the third type of relationship here is parasitism. In parasitism, you see, first organism is being benefited from second organism, but second organism is being harmed from this relationship. And fourth type of relationship here is predation. In predation, the first organism gets benefited from second organism, but in that process, the second organism has to lose its life. Let's not talk about whether second organism is being benefited or harmed. It has to lose its life. Kissa khatam, end of life. And the last type of relationship we are going to discuss about is competition. In competition, two organisms, both first organism and second organism, they have same source of food, or they have to rely on same natural resources to fulfill their need, and the resources are limited. That's why these two organisms, they have to compete with each other to obtain that limited resource. In this process, the stronger organism or the more strategic organism might get benefited, while the other one will be harmed, or in some cases they have to lose their life as well. Now let's read the story. The Light and the Shadow, a tale of deep sea survival. The abyssal zone, dark and mysterious, was a world of living lights. Here, every creature had a role in the grand underwater play. Scintilla, a small bright fish, darted through water columns, her colors flashing like tiny signals. But Scintilla was not alone. The deep sea holds many secrets, including the large silent hunter known as Skuggi. This relationship, where one organism hunts another for food, is called predation. Skuggi sensed the flicker of Scintilla's light and began to glide. He was bigger, stronger, and built for the chase. Scintilla felt the pressure change, a sign that a massive shadow was moving in. Her heart beat like a tiny drum. Faster, colder, she thought. Scintilla knew her only weapon was speed and the knowledge of her environment. She zipped past a towering plume of hydrothermal vent, the heat briefly confusing Skuggi's sensors. Skuggi, too large to follow the tight path, slammed his body against a rock and veered away, frustrated and empty-mouthed. For now, Scintilla had won this round, a temporary triumph of the hunted over the hunter. A short distance away, the ocean floor offered a quieter scene. Here, the relationship was one of the shared benefit. Ryan, a large reef grouper, settled carefully near a vibrant sea anemone, his scales itchy and covered in tiny harmful pests. He was waiting for Manda, a small dedicated cleaner shrimp. This cooperative bond, where two different species help each other to survive, is called mutualism. Neither could thrive as well alone. Manda quickly got to work. meticulously picking off the unwelcome parasites and dead tissues from Ryan's thick scales and even cleaning its gills. She was getting a full, safe meal, and Ryan was receiving a necessary health treatment. Suddenly, Skokie drifted into view, still hunting after his earlier loss. He saw Ryan and Manda, a seemingly easy target, but Ryan, now feeling much healthier, saw the danger approaching his small helper. Ryan charged Skokie with a powerful surge of water, and the predator, realizing the grapple was a much bigger fight than he wanted, darted away. In this ecosystem, both predation and mutualism play vital roles, balancing the survival of all, from the fast flashing scintilla to the cooperative pair Ryan and Manda. Well, I hope you enjoyed that story. Now, based on the story, tell me which two organisms have predatory relationship in this story? Well, your guess was right. It was shark and lanternfish. The shark needs to eat something to survive, and the lanternfish or the flashy fish or small fish, they are just food to the shark. So shark gets benefited from those fishes. Shark gets benefited by eating those fishes. But in this process, the fish has to lose its life. So this is a kind of predatory relationship. You see, in this relationship, lanternfish has to lose its life for the shark to survive. Next question. In this story, what type of relationship exists between a lanternfish and shrimp? Well, it was mutualism. And this relationship is called mutualism because in this relationship, lanternfish gets rid of parasites and shrimp gets to feed. And note here, there are no other source of food at the bottom of the ocean. That's why shrimp cannot live alone without this fish, which ventures throughout the ocean. The fish occasionally goes to the other parts of ocean as well. And that's how the fish gets all the parasites on its body. And when it comes down, the shrimp gets to feed on those parasites. So in this way, the shrimp cannot survive without the fish, and the fish also cannot survive well without the shrimp because the parasites, they can cause disease to the fish. They can irritate fish. They can infect its gills, and they will put a very question mark in its very survival. That's why both the shrimp and the fish cannot survive without each other. Well, that was about mutualism. Now, what type of interaction is shown by a honeybee and flower? Let's get to a quiz. Well, I hope you definitely have seen honeybee and flower. Now that you know uh, different types of relationships and the interaction between different species, now tell me what type of interaction is this? Is it commensalism, mutualism, parasitism, or predation? Well, if you say it's a commensalism, let's check your answer. Wow, that was a big no. That was not a correct answer. So what could be the answer? Well, I hope you guessed it well. It was mutualism. You see, in this relationship, honeybee gets food from flower, and because honeybee visits different flower, they help in pollination of flower. That's why flowers cannot survive without honeybee, and honeybee also cannot survive without flower. So this is an example of mutualism. Now, look at this picture. What do you think about it? Here you can see a rhino and small birds on top of rhino. In this relationship, who do you think is being benefited? Well, of course, the birds are getting benefited because they can travel on top of rhino. They are using the rhino as a bus, a transportation. You see, they can save their energy. They can get to their destination without wasting any energy. Okay, that's why the birds are getting benefited in this relationship. And then tell me, who do you think is being harmed? Well, no one. What harm do you think rhino gets with the birds on its top? The rhino weighing more than 1000 kilogram, more than a ton, a few ounces of birds mean nothing to it. They are not a load at all. So rhino isn't burden at all. That's why in this relationship, one organism is being benefited while other organism neither getting benefit nor getting harm. So this type of relationship is called commensalism. Remember, it is commensalism. Now look at this relationship. Wow, it's so intense, right? A deer, I guess it is an impala. You see, an impala is being killed, maybe probably by the leopard. So impala is the food source to leopard, but impala is also the food source to hyena, and there are limited number of impala. You see, so the same impala is the food source of both leopard and hyena. So for that source of food, both leopard and hyena they have to compete with each other. Okay, so in this relationship, leopard and hyena they are not fighting directly. Leopard is not taking hyena as source of food, or hyena is not taking leopard as source of food. They both are fighting for the same source of food. Okay, so if leopard is superior here, then leopard will get its share, leopard wins. If hyena is superior, hyena wins, hyena gets its share. So in this competition, one gets its food and other has to remain hungry. You see, this kind of relationship is known as. Let's go to the next slide. What type of interaction exists between vampire bat and horse? I've already answered this question, and I hope you remember it from our previous slide. Of course, it was parasitism. Parasitism is a relationship that exists between bat and the horse. Now, what type of interaction exists between deer and a tiger? The options are commensalism, mutualism, predation, or parasitism. Well, is it commensalism? No, it's not commensalism. So is it mutualism? The deer and tiger get benefited from each other? Wow, of course that's not true. And is it parasitism? Well, that's also not true. It's because you see, in this relationship, both deer tiger gets benefited from deer, but deer has to lose its life in this process. So that kind of relationship is known as predation. So mm, predation is a relationship that exists between a tiger and deer. So far, we have discussed 5 different types of interactions here. The first one being mutualism, in which both organisms are, are getting benefited. The second one is commensalism, in which first organism gets benefited from second organism, but the second organism gets nothing from first. Okay, neither any benefit nor any harms. And the third one is competition. It is a special type of relationship in which two organisms compete for the same source of food or other resources. The fourth one being parasitism, in which first organism gets benefited from second organism, but second organism gets harmed in this relationship. Harmed, albeit, but does not have to lose its life. Okay, it lives. And the last one is predation. And predation is pretty much like parasitism, but in predation, the second organism has to lose its life. So I hope uh, it does not leave any question to you. I hope I am able to quench all your questions properly. If not, you're free to ask me um, after this session. Okay, if there are any questions regarding this presentation or in this topic, you're free to ask me in the comment section as well, or you can communicate with me in other media such as Viber and WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger as well. Well, that's all about it. Thank you very much.